So I haven't done any content for Dell's poker journey, so I wanted to start putting some content out there for it. And so the thing is that this week has been really difficult. I have I've been going through a bout of depression here this week, and it's made it very hard to function. It's made it very hard to. I haven't put in any volume this week. The only volume I did put in, I put in a little bit of volume a couple days ago in a game that has to do with School of Cards. It's all School of Cards students, and I played in that game and I shouldn't have. It's tiny stakes. It's not like I lost my shirt or anything, but I played badly and I behaved badly. Um, I well, like everybody that was involved, everybody said I didn't really behave badly, and everybody, understands what I'm going through. But let me explain what I mean by I behaved badly. I allowed myself to get tilted over the silliest shit, and I was filled with judgment and arrogance. And this just doesn't work at the table. It really doesn't. Um, you know, I spent a lot of time in my games um, talking about in my head talking about how I'm better than that player and I don't make that mistake and I don't make that mistake. And I have a tendency to get caught up in the notion that I'm a better player than they are. And I may not have any proof of that. You know what I mean? First of all, the speed of this game, it was online, but it was over Zoom. And the speed of this game is comparable to a live game. It's not like playing online normally is. So I don't really have enough hands against any of these people to think I'm better than any of them. You know what I mean? I have no evidence. In fact, although all the evidence says that I'm not as good as them, because they keep taking my money, you know. So why do they keep taking my money? Well, they keep taking my money because of my arrogance. I get involved in this crap in my head, you know. So that doesn't happen to me as much as it used to, but it certainly happens to me when I go through these bouts of depression. So like mental health is like super important to any success that I can possibly hope to achieve, you know? Um, so why did I play, And what's fueling this depression? Now, I don't have clinical depression. I need to make this clear. Like, there's people who suffer from clinical depression, and I don't. I suffer. There's different types of depression, and I am not a doctor, and I'm not going to self-diagnose myself, um, But I don't know what you'd call my depression, but it's not clinical depression. I don't go through my life battling depression on a daily basis, and I know people who do, and and I don't even want like my depression. I don't want anybody listening to this, watching this, to put that my depression on the same level as what those people go through because it's not, you know. But there's stuff that's feeling it. Like when I was younger, I would have a week or 2 weeks where I literally couldn't function, because of depression. Now I've managed to get that to where like if I go through these bouts, I've got it down to like 1 to 3 days. But this week's different. This week's different. It's gone on further. It's gone on further. And I was able to identify. I talked to BJ earlier, and I was able to identify what some of the things that are fueling this depression. It's not any different than any other depression I've had, but the length has gotten longer because I'm allowing stuff to fuel it that really really it's not insignificant. But it's well, actually, no, it's insignificant. Like with the issues of the world, most of my problems are pretty insignificant. You know, so my wife, I travel on the road. I'm recording this from my camper. You know, I luckily the job I'm at now is only 2.5 hours from my home, so I get to be home every weekend and see my wife. But my wife is alone, and she's tired of being alone. And I'm alone, and I'm tired of being alone. I didn't get married to spend years of my life away from my wife. So we had to talk about it, and it's fueling it because when I think about it, what has prevented me from becoming a professional poker player? I know enough theory to be a professional poker player. I don't know. I am smart enough to be a professional poker player, or at least the people that I know that I respect who play poker believe I'm smart enough to be a professional poker player. I lack discipline, you know. I lack discipline because I make the same mistakes against the same players that I'm supposed to be making money against. You know what I mean? Um, in that game, there was a player who was playing a loose passive style, and they were making money. And one of the reasons they were making money was I kept paying them off. You know, I kept trying to bluff them when they'd already shown that they weren't going to fold, and I kept paying them off. And I do that too much. I do it much less than I used to. I make a little bit of money, but not enough to be a professional. So if I'm really going to take this step, if this journey is going to actually happen the way I want it to happen, I have to start being disciplined in my game, in my play, and I have to start being disciplined in my life. So, you know, that is fueled the depression, this notion that, I shouldn't have to be dependent on the job that I'm dependent on. I should by now already be past that, you know. So there's that. Um, you know, Another thing fueling it is just literally to being away from my wife. I love my wife. I adore her. She is my world. And I have to spend so much time away from her. So, how important is spending time with my wife? Is it important enough for me to fold against a big bet on the river? Yeah. So, why don't I do it? You know, is it important enough for me to make sure that I do what I need to when I need to every day? Yeah. So why don't I do it? You know, and it's not just as simple as realizing. It's not like this moment of like, wow, yeah, all right, that's right. I just need to do it. It's never that simple. Well, actually, it is that simple. It's never that easy. Let me get the wording correctly here. But it's never so simple, so easy. It's never so easy that just being aware of it and knowing it means that you fix it. But it is that simple. It really is that simple. Just do what I need to do when I need to do it. Just do what I need to do when I need to do it. So that's the message from Dell's poker journey this week. You know, so what am I going to do to change it? Well, this right here, there's some things that have helped me the last couple of days with my depression. Talking to a friend, doing this right now is helping. You know, but what do I got to do to move forward? What do I got to do to ensure, you know, that there's actually going to be a change? So I'm gonna have to set up some frameworks and some systems in my game and in my life I'm not a systems person. The thing is, BJ is a systems person, and he's a frameworks person. He uses them in his job, and he uses them at the poker table. And he is like dominant at the poker table. It's like he is completely dominant at the poker table. You know, he does what I need to do. So I'm going to try and get BJ to help me out, making up some frameworks and some systems, so that going forward, you know, I can I can take and start taking the steps that I need to, so I can be with my wife, you know, so I don't have to travel on the road half my year to try and make a living. You know, I can be at home, I can be with my wife, I can be with my dogs, I can be there to help my sons, you know. That's what I want to do. So I hope this hasn't been too much of a downer. Um, you know, it I hope it hasn't been too much of a downer. And I do hope that the people who played with me that day understand that I feel very bad about the way I behaved. You know, I wasn't, and let me make this clear to anybody who's watching this. I didn't yell, I didn't scream, I didn't call anybody names, but I was whining. You know, that's the part I'm sorry about. I'm sorry I was whining. I'm sorry that I wasn't, you know, being the person I need to be. So, anyways, thank you. This is Dell Hamilton for the blind stealing the blinds, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.